She felt something in her chest unlock. Respect. Care. Real consideration. He wasn't trying to own her. He wasn't trying to rescue her. He was trying to open a future she could walk into on her own power. She whispered, "Thank you, Do-yun." And he said, with a softness he didn't know he had, "You don't have to thank me. Just don't disappear." She laughed, and the sound was brighter than anything he'd heard all day. Era sat at a polished marble dining table, jaw clenched, manicured nails tapping against a wine glass. Her mother, impeccably poised, read through an email from the Jung family legal office. Termination of engagement contract requested by Do-yun, citing irreconcilable incompatibility. Her mother set the paper down slowly. "He's serious." Era swallowed hard. "I thought he would calm down. I thought he was just angry. I thought." "You thought you still had power over him," her mother finished. "You do not." Era's face flushed. Humiliation, disbelief, panic. He can't just end it. Not after all these years. Not after everything our families built together. Not after I cheated with another man? Her mother said, voice cold, unbothered. "You didn't think that would end it?" Era flinched. But her mother wasn't finished. "If you want that man back, not the man, the position, you need strategy, not emotion. Men like him don't respond to tears. They respond to consequences." Era blinked, eyes widening. Meaning, her mother said slowly. "You don't attack him. You attack what he values. Reputation, legacy, the woman he's choosing instead." Era swallowed, pulse racing. "You know who she is, don't you?" Her mother slid a phone across the table. A single image on the screen. Laila, smiling, completely unaware her life was being targeted. Era's fingers tightened around the phone. "Then let's begin." Liam leaned back in his penthouse chair, scrolling through Laila's social media, jaw tight enough to crack teeth. He saw it. Her smile wasn't the same. It wasn't the smile she gave him. Bright but guarded, polite but distant. This one was open, soft, happy. Someone had changed her. Someone not him. He picked up his phone, typed a new message, not to Laila, but to someone else. "I think we have a mutual problem named Do-yun. Call me." He pressed send. And on the other end, Era's phone lit up. The city lights glowed against the glass walls of Do-yun's penthouse, but he wasn't looking at the skyline. He was looking at his phone. He had never waited for someone to call him in his life. Not business partners, not clients, not executives, not even Era. But tonight, he sat on the edge of his bed, tie off, sleeves rolled, waiting for Laila to decide if she wanted to press call. And then it happened. Telephone receiver, incoming video call, Laila. His pulse kicked. He accepted. Her face appeared, soft lighting, hair tied loosely, eyes warm but slightly nervous. "Hi," she said, smiling shyly. "Hi," he replied, voice lower, rougher than he expected. "I wasn't sure you'd actually call." "I wasn't sure I would either," she admitted, laughing quietly. "But then I realized I wanted to hear your voice more than I wanted to avoid being scared." Something inside him melted and tightened at the same time. "I like that you called," he said, not bothering to hide the truth. She shifted, holding the phone at a more relaxed angle. "So, what did Sol say when you told them the engagement was over?" He exhaled softly, not annoyed, but tired of the weight he'd been carrying alone. "My mother thinks I'm being reckless. The board isn't informed yet, but once I announce it publicly, my position will be questioned. And when Era's family reacts, it will get worse." Laila swallowed. "So if I go to Korea, I won't just be the girl you like. I'll be the reason you ruined a business deal people cared about." He didn't soften the truth. He respected her too much for that. "Yes, if you come here, people will talk. They will assume the worst. They will blame you." She nodded slowly, taking it in, not running away from it. "Then why aren't you trying to stop me from coming?" His eyes lifted, intense, steady. "Because I don't want a world where the only way to protect you is to pretend you don't matter to me." Silence. Her breath caught. His stayed still. "Do-yun," she whispered. He leaned slightly closer to the camera, voice dropping lower, more intimate. You don't have to love me yet, Laila. You don't have to promise anything. But if you feel something, even a little, don't run from it just because it's complicated. I've lived my whole life choosing the safe option. It never made me happy. She felt it. That ache inside her that was both fear and longing, tangled together. She stared at him, the loosened collar, the quiet exhaustion in his eyes, the sincerity in his voice, and it hit her. He was trying. Not as a CEO. Not as a man used to getting what he wants. He was trying as someone who was finally risking something real. I don't want safe anymore either, she whispered, and something shifted between them, quiet, but irreversible. Then, unexpectedly, he smiled. Not the polite corporate smile, not the controlled press smile. A real one. Warm. Slightly crooked. Human. You should get some rest, he said gently. Tomorrow is a big day. Why? She asked, curious. Because your fellowship interview will be scheduled. And because once you confirm it, nothing will ever go back to how it was. And you're okay with that? She asked, half teasing, half serious. He held her gaze. If it brings you here, yes. Her heart did not survive that sentence intact. Good night, Do-yun. Good night, Laila. He didn't hang up first. She did. And the moment the screen went dark, he let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. The cafe was upscale, quiet, discreet, the perfect place for people who didn't want to be seen together but wanted to be seen as important. Era arrived first, sunglasses on, posture stiff with entitlement and panic. Liam walked in 5 minutes later. Cocky, confident, but with an edge she hadn't seen before. He sat, smirked, leaned back. So, you want him back? I want her back. Looks like we're inconveniently on the same team. Era's eyes narrowed. I don't want him back because of love. I want him back because of status, stability, image. I refuse to be the woman he throws away for a foreign marketing intern who has nothing. Liam chuckled darkly. You really don't like her, do you? Era leaned forward. She wasn't good enough for me as a friend. What makes her good enough to stand next to the Jung family? Liam shrugged. She was too good for me. That's why I want her back. Era blinked, thrown off for a moment, then focused. So, what's your plan? Liam grinned. Break the two of them before they get stable. That means timing, pressure, public exposure, and making both of them doubt each other. Era tapped her nails thoughtfully. And what do I get? If you help me destroy what they have, Liam said, you'll get your fiancé back. Era smirked. And you'll get your obsession back. They shook hands. A temporary alliance. A dangerous one. The notification tone was soft, but it hit like thunder. Envelope with arrow subject. Final confirmation. Soul Trade Fellowship interview. Laila stared at the screen, heart pounding. Dear Ms. Laila Johnson, we are pleased to inform you that your formal interview has been scheduled for Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, via video conference. Your selection is currently in top consideration pending this final phase. Please confirm your attendance and interest within 24 hours to secure your placement. 24 hours. One day to decide whether she was just a girl who got her heart broken in Georgia, or a woman about to step into a world she'd never imagined she could touch. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she stood still, breathing unevenly, because every choice from here would carry consequences. If she went, heavy check mark, she would move to Korea. Heavy check mark, her career would change forever. Heavy check mark, she and Do-yun would no longer be accidental. They would be public. If she refused, heavy check mark, she would never see him again. Heavy check mark, she would stay safe, but small. Heavy check mark, the story would end before it ever began. Her hands trembled. She wanted to be brave, but bravery was expensive, and she had never been taught how to afford it. Then her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Enjoy your new Korea opportunity, sweetheart. I'll see you soon. Liam. Her blood went cold. Not curiosity. Not jealousy. Threat. She deleted the message, but her heart wouldn't stop pounding. A storm was coming, and for the first time, She realized she wouldn't be hiding from it. She would be walking into it. The boardroom was glass, marble, and silence. 12 directors sat around the curved table, their expressions stiff and unreadable. Do-yun entered, calm, composed, in full CEO mode, but something about him was different. Not cold, not detached, resolute. The chairman of the board, a stern older man, cleared his throat. We've been informed of your intent to dissolve the engagement with the Han family. Is this accurate? Yes, Do-yun answered, voice steady. The arrangement no longer reflects reality. There is no personal foundation, no emotional alignment, and no long-term viability. A board member leaned forward. Business marriages are not about romance, Chairman Jung. They are about strategic stability. You understand what dissolving this means. Yes, I understand, he replied, and I am prepared for the outcome. Another board member, sharper, more accusatory. Is this decision being influenced by a woman outside the agreement? Do-yun didn't flinch. Yes. Half the room reacted. Chairs shifted. Mutters exchanged. But he didn't back down. I built this company with my skills, my work, my leadership. I will not let my personal life be dictated by shareholders who are not accountable for the emotional cost of decisions they do not have to live with. Silence. Then the oldest board member, the only one who had known his father personally, spoke quietly. Your father once said the greatest risk a leader takes is choosing humanity over strategy. It is usually punished, but sometimes rewarded. The question is, will you survive the consequence long enough to see the reward? Do-yun held his gaze. I will. The vote was not taken that day, but the line had been drawn. If they pushed him, he would not fold. He walked out of the building with the same composure he entered with. But as soon as he reached the car, his phone buzzed. Min Jae, his assistant. Sir, I think you need to see this. A photo appeared. A candid shot. Not from the gala. Not from their private moments. Not from anything he recognized. But it was him and Laila. At the bar. Sitting close. Talking. Her hand resting near his. Taken from behind another table. Posted online with the caption, who is the mystery woman with Chairman Jung Do-yun in Atlanta? Not his fiancée Han Era, that's for sure. His jaw locked, not because of the exposure, he expected that eventually, but because someone had moved earlier than planned. Someone who knew exactly what this photo would do. Someone who wanted chaos, not conversation. Era, or Liam, or both. She stared at her computer, finger hovering over the button. White heavy check mark confirm interview. Cross mark decline opportunity. Her reflection was faint in the screen. Not the girl from 3 months ago who cried in a bathroom stall over a cheating boyfriend, but a woman who had survived betrayal, who had rebuilt her dignity, who had allowed herself to feel something real again. She thought of Do-yun's voice when he said, I don't want a world where the only way to protect you is to pretend you don't matter to me. She thought of Liam's threat. She thought of Era's betrayal twice, and then she thought of the girl she used to be, quiet, careful, always picking the smaller choice so she wouldn't be a problem. She clicked. White heavy check mark confirm interview. Her breath shook, but she didn't take it back. The elevator doors slid open on the 47th floor, revealing the executive lobby of Jung International Headquarters, a floor that usually echoed with quiet efficiency, hushed discussions, and the calm pressure of high-level decision-making. But today, Do-yun could feel eyes on him. Not openly, not disrespectfully, just curiously. It wasn't his suit, or the jet lag. It was because the news had already moved faster than he had. The executive assistant bowed and spoke quietly. Sir, I believe your father is waiting for you in the boardroom. Of course he was. Not his office. Not his mother's private lounge. Not a family dining room at home. The boardroom, a place where emotions were not allowed. Do-yun straightened his tie, inhaled once, and walked. He pushed open the door and immediately understood what this was. His father was not alone. Sitting at the far end of the table, legs crossed, posture elegant, expression unreadable, was Era. Her hair was styled flawlessly, makeup subtle and expensive, outfit business formal but clearly chosen to project calm control. She looked like a woman who had not been exposed, not been confronted, not been caught cheating in a hotel room with another man. And that was the moment Do-yun remembered something important. Era wasn't emotional first. She was strategic first. His father finally spoke. You returned from America without informing us. I assume there is a reason. Do-yun didn't sit. He kept his coat on. That alone already broke tradition, and Era noticed. What's the meaning of this meeting? He asked quietly. His father's gaze sharpened. You have jeopardized an engagement that has been legally reviewed, contractually tied, and publicly positioned for future merger negotiations. There it was. Not love, not betrayal, not concern about his happiness. Business. Era didn't even blink. She simply tilted her head slightly and said, You left without speaking to me. I was worried. The lie was so clean that even the air seemed to believe it. Do-yun almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was stunning how fast she had converted guilt into victimhood. But he was done playing that game. What you're worried about, he said, voice low and precise, is losing control of something you never really wanted, except for what it gave you. Era's expression never broke. She was ready for that line. But his father stiffened. What are you implying? Do-yun turned fully toward him. I'm implying that the engagement is over. Silence. Not shocked silence. Alert silence. Like a stock drop. Like a political scandal. Like a train shifting off the tracks. Era finally spoke, and the softness in her voice was not weakness. It was weaponry. You're ending an engagement over a woman you met 2 weeks ago? There it was. Not a guess. Not suspicion. A statement. A confirmation. And that meant Era already knew her name. Laila. She had said nothing, but she knew. Do-yun met her eyes, and for the first time since they met, there was no business etiquette. No polite mask. No shared facade. Just truth. No, he replied. I'm ending it because it was never real. But now I have something in my life that is. Era blinked, and for one split second, just one, her expression cracked. Because she didn't lose to love. She lost to authenticity. And that, in her world, was worse. Era didn't raise her voice. She didn't cry. She didn't accuse, beg, or pretend to be heartbroken. She simply folded her hands on the table, leaned back slightly, and said in a quiet, almost casual tone, You really want to do this the hard way, don't you, Do-yun? His father turned toward her, because those were not the words of a disappointed fiancé. They were the words of someone holding leverage. Do-yun didn't flinch. If the only way to be free is the hard way, then yes. Era's eyes sharpened. You think this is about me being rejected? No, I don't care about that. I care about what happens when the media finds out why. His father exhaled sharply, not shocked, but irritated. Because she wasn't speaking personally. She was threatening public narrative, the one thing a conglomerate cannot control once it escapes into headlines. Are you blackmailing my son in front of me? Chairman Jung asked. Era's perfectly painted lips curved in the faintest hint of a smile. Not blackmail, just reality. Your son ends the engagement, and the world will be very curious why the perfect couple suddenly dissolves. She opened her phone as if verifying a schedule. And once they learned that the CEO of Jung International ended his engagement because of a foreign woman he met on a trip, she lifted her gaze again, calm, calculating. The narrative writes itself. There it was. Not a threat to destroy Do-yun. A threat to destroy Laila. His hands curled slightly at his sides. You speak her name again, he warned, voice low. And I will show you what real power looks like, Era. Her eyebrow lifted, not in fear, but in measurable interest. So you are in love with her. The room went still, and for the first time, Do-yun didn't deny it. He didn't deflect. He didn't soften. He just looked straight at her and said, Yes. His father's jaw tightened, not from shock, but from the realization that this was no longer a case of temporary rebellion. This was decision, and decision was expensive. Era leaned back, crossing her legs slowly. Well then, I suppose we are no longer negotiating a relationship. She held his gaze. But a war. Laila had just finished a video call with the Korean Fellowship Administrator, when her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. No preview line. She hesitated, then opened it. You don't know what you've stepped into. Walk away now if you're smart. She stared at the screen, pulse spiking. Not because of the message itself, but because there was no name, no signature, no emoji, no threat style. This wasn't emotional. This wasn't dramatic. It was strategic. She typed back instinctively, "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, reappeared. Someone who knows the man you think you're safe with. Her breath hitched. Someone knew about her and Do-yun. Someone watching. Someone connected. She swallowed hard and replied, "If you have something to say it directly." This time, the answer was instant. He has more to lose than you do. And when he falls, he won't be the only one who gets crushed. Then the typing dots appeared again. Last warning. The message disappeared. No name. No history. No trace. Laila set her phone down slowly. Not shaking. Not crying. Not panicking. But thinking. Because whoever sent that message wasn't guessing. They knew. And that meant the clock had just started ticking. Chairman Jung finally spoke again. Voice clipped but controlled. There are 2 options, Do-yun. You either end this distraction and proceed with the merger, or you leave the company entirely. Era turned her head slightly, watching him. It was a trap. A business ultimatum disguised as parental authority. Dune didn't blink. I built this company past its projected growth curve. I expanded our trade routes into 3 continents. You don't replace me with a headline and a handshake. His father's eyes hardened. And yet you are willing to risk everything for a woman you barely know. For someone I don't have to pretend with, he corrected. Silence again. Long, weighted, irreversible silence. Era finally stood, smoothing her skirt. Then the next time we meet, she said, we'll no longer be sitting on the same side of the table. She walked out, calm, poised, but with a storm behind her eyes. As the door closed, Do-yun exhaled. Not in relief, but in readiness. Because for the first time, someone else was in danger because of him. And that was not acceptable. Laila didn't tell anyone about the message. Not her roommate, not her mentor, not even the friend who usually heard everything first. She sat at her small desk, laptop open, fellowship documents pulled up, but she wasn't reading. Her eyes hovered over the application form, but her mind was somewhere completely different. Someone was watching her. Someone who knew about her and Do-yun. Someone who knew enough to threaten her without introducing themselves. But she wasn't the type to panic. She had been betrayed before, survived heartbreak before, rebuilt her own life before. She knew how to fall and stand again. What she had never done was fall for a man whose world could swallow her whole. She stared at the line on the fellowship form. Intended purpose for participating in this program. She typed 2 words. New beginning. Then deleted them. Typed again. Career expansion. Deleted again. Her fingers stilled. She whispered to herself, or maybe it's not about the program at all. Maybe it's about whether I'm brave enough to go where he is. Her phone buzzed. This time she didn't hesitate. She grabbed it immediately. But it wasn't another threat. It was Do-yun. Are you safe? Her breath caught. Not because the question was dramatic, but because it meant he felt something was coming too. She typed back, I'm fine. But something happened. His reply came fast. Tell me. She paused, then sent it. Someone texted me. No name. No number saved. They warned me to walk away from you. Said you have more to lose than I do. 3 dots appeared, then stopped. Then appeared again. She could feel him deciding how honest he could be. I'm going to protect you. But I won't lie, things are changing fast. Some people will try to use you to hurt me. Are you scared? She stared at the message, surprised at the honesty. Not are you okay? Not don't worry about it. Just, are you scared? She typed slowly. A little. But I'm not the one who runs when things get complicated. Then she added, are you scared? This time, the typing dots didn't disappear. Only of losing you. Laila closed her eyes. Not to cry, but to breathe. Because now it was real. Not a spark. Not a flirtation. Not a vacation moment in a bar. Something had begun, and someone wanted it destroyed. Do-yun didn't take the executive elevator. He took the stairs, down 7 flights, into the lowest level to a place security cameras didn't reach. A man in a dark suit stepped forward from the shadows. Hyungnim. Not sir. Not chairman. Just the word used between men who trusted each other before titles existed. Do-yun spoke quietly. I need surveillance on someone in America. Discreet. No contact unless necessary. The man nodded without asking why. Name? Laila Johnson. Atlanta, Georgia. And the threat? Not confirmed yet, but it's connected to Era and Liam. Possibly more. A pause. You want protection or elimination? The question wasn't shocking. Not in the world they lived in. When someone threatened the heir to a family empire, there were only ever 2 options. But Do-yun didn't hesitate. No one touches them, he said. Just find out who's moving first. His man nodded and disappeared back into the shadows. Not mafia. Not gang. Just loyalty from the years before luxury existed. Because there were things money could buy, and things only respect could earn. Liam sat in his penthouse living room, scrolling through a tablet filled with photos. Not of vacations, not of friends, not of business. Of Era, of Do-yun, of Laila. Pictures taken in public. Screenshots from social media. Airport images. Business articles. Whispers gathered by people on his payroll. He zoomed in on one. Do-yun and Laila in the parking lot of the trade event, the moment just before the ride-sharing car arrived. He smiled slowly, not because he was happy, but because he finally understood the real game. So that's why she pulled away from me, he murmured. He tapped the screen lightly, as if marking territory. You chose him, Laila. Let's see how long he keeps choosing you. He poured himself a drink, eyes gleaming with quiet cruelty. Because unlike Era, Liam didn't want the relationship back. He wanted revenge. Laila sat cross-legged on the carpet of her apartment, papers spread across the floor, laptop open, the final slide of her presentation glowing on the screen. Time left until submission deadline. 14 minutes. Almost done. She could feel the relief building in her chest, the kind that only comes after weeks of pressure. The kind of relief that made her smile a little to herself, thinking, I can finally breathe after this. I can finally tell Do-yun that I did it. Her phone buzzed. A message from her classmate Serena. Girl, is this really you? Attached. Link. Laila frowned, half distracted, still adjusting her citation list. She clicked the link without thinking. The page loaded, and the world dropped out from under her. Breaking news. Korean CEO Jong Do-yun accused of secret romance with American intern. Abuse of power allegations rising. A blurred photo, her silhouette in the background of a restaurant where she and Do-yun had eaten. A cropped shot of her hand accepting the engraved pen he gave her. A freeze frame of them leaving a building together. Her heartbeat slammed against her ribs. No. Her phone lit up again. 5 unread messages. 3 missed calls. Group chat. Is this you? Her fellowship email notification appeared on screen at the same time. Reminder. Upload your final report before 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But the countdown clock in the corner of her vision wasn't the one on the laptop anymore. It was the one on her life. Do-yun was in the middle of a board briefing when every phone around the table vibrated at once. At first he ignored it until he noticed the looks. Confused. Tense. Then accusing. His assistant silently slid a tablet toward him. He saw the headline. He saw her silhouette. He saw the words. Intern from U.S. University. Identified only as L. Rumored to have been privately favored. His pulse stopped. Then restarted. Much harder. The head of legal cleared his throat. Mr. Jong, we need to ask whether this is true. Do-yun didn't even blink. It is no one's business but mine. But his phone was already lighting up with calls from investors, newspapers, and one name that tightened his chest. Laila calling. He reached for it. The boardroom door opened before he could answer. Press outside. Someone whispered. Reporters. Cameras. They're already here. She tried calling him again. Call failed. Network busy. Call failed. She stared at her screen through burning eyes. She had worked, sacrificed, rebuilt herself after heartbreak. And now the world was tearing down both her career and the man she had just begun to love. Another email arrived. Due to recent circulating allegations, your internship status will be reviewed. Her chest tightened. Her throat closed. She whispered into the empty room. Everything I worked for, everything I tried to fix, it's all being destroyed. She felt sick. Not because of what people were saying, but because she knew exactly who had fed this story to the world. Liam, Era, the two people who had already broken her once, now trying to break her again. Her phone buzzed with one final notification. Trending worldwide. Hashtag internaffair, hashtag so scandal, hashtag power abuse. Her fingers trembled. She forced herself to breathe. And then, for the first time, she said aloud what she had only thought in silence until now. I still care about him. And now, he's paying the price for ever caring about me. But just as the tears finally fell, her phone vibrated again. Do-yun, Laila, don't run. Don't hide. I will handle this. I will protect you. She covered her mouth, sobbing a breath that hurt, because she knew two things at the same time. She believed him, and the world didn't care. Do-yun stood at the boardroom window, watching news vans line up outside the building. Someone whispered behind him, Sir, this is going to get ugly. He didn't turn. It already has. And then, softly, to no one but himself, but I'm not letting her face this alone. The flashes of cameras looked like lightning, white, explosive, relentless. The polished glass walls of the conference room reflected every burst of light, turning the space into something closer to a courtroom than a corporate setting. Executives filled the front row, tense and speechless. Reporters packed together like wolves, microphones raised, waiting for blood. Do-yun stood at the podium in a black suit. No tie, jaw set, eyes steady. He looked as if he had walked through fire and come out knowing exactly what he wanted to burn next. The scandal had hit global news in less than 3 hours. Not just Korean CEO involved in rumored secret romance. Not just anonymous woman suspected to be American. No, it was worse. Screens behind the journalists displayed the headline. Chairman's son, Do-yun SEO, linked to foreign woman. Engagement in jeopardy. Stock price shifts. The board wanted him to deny everything. His father wanted him to remain silent. Era wanted him to fix the embarrassment. Liam wanted him destroyed. But Do-yun was done performing. When the room finally quieted, he leaned toward the microphone. Not rushed, not nervous, just calm in a way that made the silence heavier than any noise. If protecting her costs me everything, he said, voice low and precise, then it was never really mine to begin with. A ripple went through the room. Confusion, shock, disbelief, then frantic whispers. That was not the statement any reporter was expecting. That was not the damage control script the company approved. That was a declaration. Journalists lunged forward with questions. Are you admitting the rumors are true? Who is the woman you're referring to? Is your engagement to Miss Era Kim cancelled? Will this affect the Seoul Henderson joint shipping project? Has the board approved this statement? He raised one hand, quieting the room instantly. There was no affair. There was no scandal. There was only a mistake. Forcing a marriage built on business, not emotion. His eyes didn't waver. I won't continue it, gasped. Someone in the back cursed. One of the board directors grabbed his chest. A journalist shouted, Are you saying you are ending your engagement? Do-yun nodded once. I am. Phones lit up. Stock trackers started moving. Era, who was watching from her parents' estate, dropped the champagne glass she'd been holding. Another question fired. And the woman? Who is she? This time, Do-yun's silence wasn't hesitation, just deliberation. He knew that saying her name would bring the storm directly to her door, but she had already been dragged into it. He inhaled, and his voice softened. Not weaker, but more human. She has done nothing wrong. She didn't chase wealth, didn't ask for attention, didn't expect any of this. His jaw tightened. If anyone targets her, financially, legally, socially, they will answer to me first. He paused. I won't give her name here, but she knows who she is. And somewhere across an ocean, she did. Same moment, asterisk, asterisk. Laila was sitting on the edge of her bed, laptop open, live stream playing. She hadn't meant to watch. She didn't even expect him to speak. She assumed he would deny her, erase her, pretend she was nothing but a rumor blown out of proportion. That was how powerful men worked. That was how Liam worked. That was how the world worked. But he didn't erase her. He protected her in front of everyone. Not with silence, but with choice. Her heart was pounding so hard she didn't realize she was crying until a tear hit the keyboard. Then the camera zoomed in on his face, close enough for her to recognize the expression she saw the night they first kissed in that bar. The moment he realized something had changed in him, and he didn't know how to undo it. Her phone buzzed. Unknown international number calling. She stared at it. She didn't move. She didn't breathe. It rang once, twice, 3 times. She answered. But before she could speak, before she could even say hello, his voice, low and unguarded, came through the speaker. I meant every word. Her breath caught. Laila, are you still there? She closed her eyes. I'm here, she whispered. There was a silence on the line that didn't feel empty. It felt charged, like the air before a storm, like a heartbeat held too long. Laila swallowed, trying to steady her voice, but it still came out soft, trembled at the edges. I watched it live, she said. The press conference. A breath, then a sound. Not quite a sigh, not quite relief. As if he needed confirmation she had heard him. And? He asked quietly. Her eyes drifted toward the screen again. His frozen image, jaw set, eyes unwavering, as if nothing could make him back down. It was reckless, she whispered. It was brave. It was. Her voice cracked. It was the kindest thing anyone has ever done for me. Dune didn't speak right away. When he did, his voice was lower, like he was no longer speaking as a CEO but as a man who finally had something to lose. I wasn't thinking about the company, he said, or the board, or my father. I was thinking about what I would regret if I stayed silent. She closed her eyes, and tears came again. Not from pain this time, but from something she wasn't ready to name. You shouldn't have done it, she said, but even she didn't believe the words. And yet, he murmured, I'd do it again. That did something to her. Something deep, something dangerous. She inhaled, then forced out the sentence she thought she was supposed to say. You should focus on fixing the situation in Seoul. Your company, your engagement, your life. My engagement is over, he said immediately. The certainty in his tone stunned her. Your family won't accept that. Then they'll learn to live with disappointment. She pressed a hand to her forehead. You make it sound easy. It isn't, he said. I just decided who was worth the cost. Her heartbeat stumbled, and when she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. And who is that? There was no pause, no hesitation, no doubt. You. Just one word, but it hit harder than a confession, because it carried no conditions, no apologies, no question mark. Silence again. But this time it was breathless. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. She couldn't say, I feel the same. Not while everything around her was falling apart. So she said the thing she thought would protect them both. This is too complicated. Do-yun exhaled through his nose, a quiet, humorless sound. I'm not afraid of complicated. You should be. Laila, he said, voice lower now. I crossed a line today because I finally knew what I wanted. I'm not going back. She shook her head, even though he couldn't see it, her voice breaking with conflict. You're risking everything for someone who can't even guarantee she'll stay. That's not what I asked you for. Then what are you asking? There was a pause, not long, but enough for her pulse to spike. Then, tell me not to come, And I won't get on that plane. Her breath caught. What plane? The one leaving Seoul tonight. She stood up without realizing it, heart pounding. You're coming here? To Atlanta? Yes. Her hands shook. You can't just, Do-yun. This isn't a movie. You can't fly across the world and fix everything with. I'm not coming to fix everything, he said gently. I'm coming to see you. That's all. Her voice went quiet, raw, exposed. You can't do that. I already have a ticket. She pressed her palm to her chest, as if she needed to hold her heart in place. You don't understand what your life will look like after this, she whispered. Oh, I do, he said. But I also know what it looked like without you, and I'm not going back there either. She closed her eyes. Everyone wanted something from her. Liam wanted control, Era wanted revenge, the media wanted her name, the world wanted her silence. But this man, he wanted her, nothing added, nothing subtracted. She could feel the words rising in her throat. Not a rejection, but the truth she'd been choking back for weeks. Don't come because I won't survive losing you again. Don't come because loving you feels too real too fast. Don't come because I already care more than I should. But what came out was just, Do-yun. His reply came soft, almost a whisper. I'll stay or go. Just tell me which. The weight of that choice dropped between them like a stone dropped in water, rippling, unstoppable. And before she could answer, a knock pounded on her apartment door. Not gentle, not friendly, sharp, repeated, urgent. She froze. Do-yun immediately noticed the change in her breathing. Laila? What was that? She backed away from the door, pulse racing. Another knock, harder this time. Laila! Open the door! Her blood ran cold. She knew that voice. It was Liam. Laila? What was that? Do-yun's voice was sharper now, tension cutting into every word. She didn't answer. She couldn't, because the knocking had turned into pounding, shaking the door frame. Laila, I know you're in there. Liam shouted from the hallway. Open the damn door. Her breath hitched, too loud, too fast, and the phone slipped slightly in her hand. Do-yun heard it. Who is that? He demanded. Laila, talk to me. She backed away from the door, voice shaking. It's Liam, she whispered. He showed up here. The silence on the other end of the call wasn't empty. It was dangerous. Then Do-yun's voice, low, controlled, terrifyingly calm. Don't open the door. Do you hear me? Another bang. This time, Liam's voice was full of anger and something worse, entitlement. I know you've seen the articles, he yelled. You think you can just disappear while the whole world talks about us? The word made Laila flinch. There was no us. There had never been us. There had only been him wanting ownership. She pressed herself against the wall, gripping the phone. Thank you for watching. Episode 4 ends here. If you enjoyed the story, leave us a comment, like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and click on your notification bell to get notified whenever a new story is made.